Today, we're going to continue our discussion on candlestick analysis, looking at how we determine the sentiment or the psychology of a candle. Now, when analyzing candles, the main thing you always want to ask yourself is who's in control? Is it the bulls or is it the bears? Now, you can answer that question by looking at different components of the candle. First, let's take a look at the real body. As we learned in our previous lesson, the real body is composed between the opening and the closing price. Let's have a quick refresher. Here on the green bullish candle, the base of the body starts here at the opening price. The price goes up, and the closing price here is where the body ends. And on our red bearish candle example, we have the base of the body starting up here at the opening price, and then it drops to the closing price here to form the bottom of the real body. A green bullish candle is indicating that the buyers are in control. The buyers, also known as the bulls, are willing to pay a higher price for the stock than what it currently is. Here, they drove the price up from the opening price to a higher price. Now, comparing these two candles, the larger green body is more bullish than the smaller green body, meaning over the same time frame, the larger body was able to drive the prices higher than the smaller green body. A red bearish candle is indicating that the sellers are in control. The sellers, also known as the bears, are willing to offer a price lower than where the stock currently is at for the purpose of offloading some shares. They drove the price down from its opening to close at a lower price. A larger red body candle is more bearish than a smaller red body, meaning the larger bearish candle was able to drive the price down to a further distance over the same time period compared to the smaller red candle. But is it easy to determine the sentiment of a candle just by looking at the size and color of the body? Well, let's take a look at these examples. The first has a red body indicating bearish sentiment. But what about this large tail hanging from it? The second candle has a green body, which normally indicates a bullish sentiment, but we have this huge tail above the candle. What does that mean in regards to the sentiment or psychology of the candle? The doji and the fourth candle both have tails above and below. What does that mean? Determining the sentiment of a candle is not just a matter of analyzing the size and color of the real body. You need to also consider the size of the tails. Let's review the significance of the high and the low. The high price represents the highest price the buyers, aka the bulls, were able to drive the price up to. However, it also represents the price where enough sellers, aka the bears, came back into the market, matched the buyer's price, which halted that upwards climb, and then drove the price back down to close here, a significant distance below the high. The body is green because it still closed higher than it opened, but this long tail above the body indicates a potential bearish sentiment. The bears regained control of the price and drove it back down, rejecting the higher prices. Now, on the bearish candle example, the low is the lowest price that the sellers, the bears, were able to drive the price down to. However, it also represents the price that enough buyers, aka the bulls, were willing to come back into the market, match the sellers, halt that downward move, and then were able to drive the price higher to close a significant distance below the high, below the low. The candle is red because the price still closed lower than it opened, but this indicates a potential bullish sentiment. The bulls rejected the lower price, regained control, and drove the price back up, closing here. So, reviewing again, the first candle, the body clearly red, therefore bearish, but the long tail definitely shows rejection of lower prices. The bulls re-entered the market in sufficient force to drive the prices higher to close at the base of the real body here, not far from the high. The size of the wick is clearly much larger than the size of the real body. Overall, the candle is representing more bullish than bearish sentiment. Now, there are some exceptions. We'll cover that later, but for now, we'll consider this candle largely bullish. The second candle body is clearly green, and that represents a bullish sentiment, but the tail above the candle shows significant rejection of higher prices. The bears re-entered the market with enough force to drive the price lower to close at the top of the real body here, not far from its low open. The size of the wick is clearly much larger than the size of the real body. Overall, this candle has more bearish than bullish sentiment. There are some exceptions, but for now, we'll consider this candle mostly bearish. The third candle, the doji, displays a bullish rejection of lower prices, driving prices up from the low point to the close. It also shows a bearish rejection of higher prices, driving prices down from the high back down to the close. In the end, the price closed right where it began, in the mid-range of the candle, with equal tails above and below. This displays a matching of bullish and bearish sentiment. Neither the bulls nor the bears are in control at this point in time. Now, on the fourth candle, the bulls were able to edge out a slight victory in finishing with a small range in its green body, but the significant rejection of both prices above and below, with the close right in the mid-range near the open. Once again, this is no definitive victory for either the bulls or the bears. So let's summarize. Earlier, analyzing the candles, determining their sentiment, we asked the question, who's in control? The bulls or the bears? We have now learned that the answer to that question will be revealed through a combination of the size and color of the real bodies and the size of the tails above and below the body. In the next video, we will continue the introduction to candlestick charts. We will also review some charts to determine the bullish and bearish sentiment of individual candles and watch how that follows through to price action.